Yo, what's going on, everybody? I appreciate you for checking out another video, Coke and Pot. This is Coke and Pot number 9. My name is Marcel. If you haven't checked out any of my past videos, go ahead and check some of those out. But in my last video, I alluded to mentorship very briefly. And I said that I would ultimately make a video about that. So that is the topic of this video, mentorship. And by the way, I'm gonna put the link to my last video in the description if you want to check that out. But in any event, I want to focus on mentorship, or kind of discuss mentorship a little bit, because I never had a mentor. And I guess it's normal. I can imagine a whole lot of individuals that never had mentors. But I think it's so fucking important to have a mentor. And so originally I'm from Chicago. I moved to Atlanta when I was 10. And from about 10 to 16, I would go back to Chicago pretty much every summer. And stay the entire summer, 2.5 months, per se, maybe 3 months, right? However long as, the summer break was, I would be there literally the whole summer. And, after I turned 16, I stopped going as often. I wouldn't go every year, but I would probably go like once every 2 to 3 years. I spent a little bit of time in the military, lived in a couple of different cities, got out the military, grinded my way back up, got to school, got degrees, all that good stuff. But I never had a mentor. And so, and I feel like mentors are very fucking important for young black boys, because guess what? There's not a lot of good examples of what to do. There's not a lot of motherfuckers where I can kind of emulate their steps out here. At least I felt that way coming up. Like it would be men around, like once we moved to Atlanta, my mom was really into the church. And I do view that. I view a combination of different factors and situations as mentorship, but I never had that mentor, and so I felt like my mom, she did the best she could. She put me in an environment where I could thrive. She moved us from Chicago, moved us to Atlanta. We dealt with a different set of challenges here, but it was probably just as challenging. But I think that, first off, I think that one decision my mom made probably saved my motherfucking life. Like, straight up, I really think that saved my life. Like, Chicago is a whole different beast. This is not no scary type, let me scare people. My city tougher than yours. It's not that type of game. I just know that my hometown I've been to quite a few different cities in my life. And my hometown is a totally different beast than other cities that I frequent. But in any event, and so I think it's particularly important for young black boys in Chicago, the mothers, the fathers, find mentors and try to mentor them yourself to the best of your ability. But me personally, although I never had a mentor, I feel like the best mentor would probably be somebody outside your immediate family. Maybe an uncle, ideally a person that you can strive to be like. They came from where you came from, or a similar environment where you came, and you can actually emulate their moves. You can duplicate what they said. Do this, do this, do this, do that, and that's within your grasp, because they basically maybe a little bit of an older version of you. With some, we all had different experiences that ultimately form who we become. But in a mentor, I personally feel like it needs to be somebody that I can identify with. And if you didn't grow up how I grew up with, I'm not sure if I can identify with you. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not limited to just somebody I can identify with, but definitely when I was younger, I felt like I need somebody who is like me. You know, like my mom put me in church, and it might be some dude who, you know, older, sharp, smart dude, a smart gentleman, respectable authority figure. But our lives were nothing alike. It might be somebody who came from, I don't know, I'm gonna just name a city. Maybe they were from Boston. They had their mother and their father their entire life. Middle class, working class. Both parents had degrees. And I'm like, I really can't vibe with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't see myself. You didn't come up like me. You see what I'm saying? And I think the effect of a mentor is more powerful when it's a person who's like, yo, I was homeless just like you. I saw crime and violence. I came out the gutter just like you. I didn't have no electricity just like you. I didn't have no hot water just like you. Washing up out of buckets. A whole bunch of motherfuckers cramped up in the house. Family all over the place. Seeing violence. Losing people to murders. Having family members murder people. I felt like my mentor would have had, because my mentor would have had to navigate through situations like that. And I hope I'm not being ignorant. I'm saying my mentor would have had to navigate through those situations because I would have needed someone to show me how to navigate through that trauma. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't until I got older where the shit that I grew up in, I thought my life was normal. You know, and it's funny, like, you think it's normal until I joined the military or until I moved to Atlanta when I was young. And I'm like, oh, y'all don't know nobody who got shot and murdered? You know what I'm saying? Or you don't know this, or you didn't know this person. You don't got nobody who was in your family just hustling. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you realize, like, oh, damn, the dysfunction that I came up in, that so many of my family members came up in, that so many other individuals that may be watching this video came up in, that shit is not normal. And I understand, like, what's normal. Well, growing up around a lot of violence, people getting killed, murdered, not having any guidance or mentorship, I don't think that's normal. I just don't. And so, ultimately, the point of the message is mentor your kids. Put them in situations where I think it could be two forms of mentorship. Put them in a situation where they could thrive. You know, I'm not a religious person right now. Although we kind of came up that way, you know, I kind of got away from it. But I do believe in ultimately one God, one creator. And so, you know, the cliche statement, I'm spiritual. Put them in, whether you're religious, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, put them in situations where maybe in lieu of not having that one person to mentor them, they have a combination of resources around them that can be maybe defined as mentorship. You know, maybe they have a few good teachers here. It's a Christian family with some kids that you let them play with, or a Muslim family, or Buddhist family, whatever the case. You know, you have them in a certain type of school where, you know, they'll be guided a right way. And so I think my mom did a great job, or she did a fantastic job at that. In lieu of me not having one person that I can rely on consistently to get guidance and wisdom, she put me in a place that I can thrive. In Chicago, I really don't remember being around white people like that. I mean, they're around, but where I was at in Chicago, when I was coming up, I just don't really remember it like that. My mom did what she did for a reason. You know, when I was in Atlanta, I was in a more diverse, my community may not have necessarily been as diverse, but my school was diverse. My church was diverse. To this day, I have a very diverse set of friends. And that's the only thing that really, I believe it was a bunch of contributing factors that kind of helped rear me up to become who I am today. And things could have been a lot worse, fucking trust me. And I believe if I'd have had that one mentor along with that combination of other factors that I define as mentorship, I probably could have avoided some of the pitfalls that I made when I was younger. And so, get your kid a mentor. I need a mentor to this day, but it feel kind of whack going to ask an old head like, hey, will you mentor me? Like, how do you know what I mean? And so, so now my mentorship is individuals that I respect via YouTube, authors, inspirational speakers. I really just kind of continued the formula that my mom, put me on the path to, where in lieu of not having a mentor, I've made a variety of things that I define as mentorship that gives me guidance. Unfortunately, I don't get that feedback that I believe is very important. Like when you actually have a direct person to bounce ideas off of, and they can tell you like, oh yeah, you fucking up. You making a dumbass decision. And they know you making a dumbass decision because guess what? They made the same decision. They looking at your situation and they can give you perspective based off of being almost in that exact same situation. And so that was the only thing that I believe I was missing. But I'm going to tell you what happens when parents don't take an active role in trying to put their children in environments where they can thrive, or trying to find that mentor, or actually trying to be a mentor themselves. It's hard work. Maybe you're a single mom, you done worked all day, you got 2-3 kids, you're stressed out, you don't have time to really mentor. It's just don't do this, do that. That's it. I don't have time to break it down to you. I don't have time to explain. If that's the case, I tell you what else happens. The streets mentor your kids. Also from like music. Like hearing all this crazy ass fucking music. I'm gonna murk everybody. I want this. I want your bitch. Your bitch want me. Like, people are going, like, there's no value in the music. So imagine me listening as a kid, listening to this all day, right? Listening to all this bullshit music. It's a saying, you are what you eat. Well, I believe that, like, really in a metaphysical type form. Like, you are what you eat. If you eat trash, you're going to end up looking all washed up and out of shape. If you constantly feeding your head, listening to bullshit music, watching BS on TV, you're not really giving yourself anything of value, guess what? You're going to put that out in the world. That's all you know. And so, for example, I read an article today, or I just saw the headline, and I believe it was in Louisville, and it was a gentleman who, and I'm going to be careful because I just read it. It was a gentleman that allegedly punched his 1-month-old son because he lost a fucking video game. In the mugshot, the dude looked like he looked damn near older than me. I'm about to be 40. But let me just say, he might be 27. You got 27-year-old black men out here playing fucking video games, and they get so upset that they lose a video game that they punch their 1-month-old baby. Come on now. I guarantee you that cat didn't have a mentor. I guarantee you, he couldn't have. He probably didn't have nobody to help rear him up. He's probably feeding himself with a lot of stupid shit. Music, movies, gangster this, gangster that. When I'm not doing that, I'm poisoning myself. I'm playing fucking video games all day. I'm drinking and I'm smoking weed. And so when I lose a fucking video game, because I haven't had any mentorship, maybe my parents, not sure in this case, but maybe my parents didn't put me in a situation to thrive in lieu of me not having mentorship, I can't control my fucking emotions. So I lose a video game, I lose Madden online to some person I'm playing on the internet, and I killed the 1 month year old. Ended up passing away, unfortunately. I punched my fucking 1 month year old son and I kill him. Come on, man, that's ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous. And so, look, I think it's a lot of problems, it's a lot of issues. A lot of these issues can be mitigated. It's a war going on against us, yo. Against, you know what I'm saying, black men. We getting shot down. We getting locked up at disproportionate rates. Education, it's a wealth gap. It's a medical gap, health gap, knowledge gap. Everything is a gap, and we at the low end of the fucking total pole. It's time for parents. It's time for 16, 17-year-olds who have the ability to watch these videos. It's time for you to take this shit in your own hands and just start really being on point with it. If you're a younger individual and you don't have a mentor, you can actually ask somebody. You can go up to someone and say, will you mentor me? Will you help me out? You know, if you are a parent with a kid, please take heed. You want to know why we running around with a whole bunch of savage ass motherfuckers in Chicago or Atlanta? Because most of them ain't got daddies. Most of them didn't have a mentor in place that they can emulate their moves and ultimately achieve some form of success, whatever that success may be. Because I don't want to limit success to just financial success, because it's more than that. This world is more than just money. But I don't want this video to get too fucking long. I just really wanted to talk to you all and I just really went off the top about mentorship. It's very important. You know, I'm lucky, I'm blessed that my mom had the wisdom and the foresight to do what she did with me along with all her children in lieu of us not really having that mentor. I know my sister has somebody now. I'm not even sure about my little brother and whatnot. But in any event, it's very important. I can't stress that. And particularly, I think it's very important for young black males. So get that. But this message is applicable regardless of race and regardless of gender. At the end of the day, I'm a person that really just love people. But I want to start a mission to help us, because we are the people that are disproportionately affected by damn near everything, negatively affected. And so we need to figure out how to help each other. So that's why I support you all. If you figure out a way to add value, if you can rap, all right, cool. Make sure you just put a couple of jewels in your raps. Don't let everything just be bullshit and, you know what I'm saying, negative shit. If you a playwright or actor, be thoughtful about roles you take on. You know, if you write your blogs and whatnot, just be thoughtful about that. It's an attack on us right now. And we got to look out for one another, you know. And so just keep that in mind when you all are quick to judge, you know, people who came up like me. You know what I'm saying? It's real easy to judge that shit when you ain't never came from it, you know. And a lot of people who judge that shit probably couldn't even survive it. They ain't built for it. And so, you know, it's funny because I keep this thought in my head, you know, when I go back home or when I deal with people here, and, you know, people always doing something that, you know, may upset you or frustrate you. But one thing that kind of helped me is, you know, Lord forgive them because they know not what they do. You know, I constantly kind of think that, you know, and I said the serenity prayer 1,000 times in my life. My mom put us in some counseling and stuff, and you know, I try to live that serenity prayer. But in any event, that's some other tangents that I'm going off on. At the end of the day, if you get anything from this video, it's about mentorship. The shit probably went a little bit longer. I probably didn't even have to talk about it that long. But it's something that's coming from a guy that never had a mentor. It's something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. You know, I thank my mom. You know, Mom, if you watching this video, I love you. You saved my life. I tell you that all the time. And hey, you know, go get that mentor. Start figuring this shit out for your kids right now. All right. Love y'all, and you know, check me out when number 10 drop. All right, later.